Hi everybody, so here we are comparing the brand new Zombie Army 4 Dead War with Strange Brigade, two well-known Rebellion titles, and it was good to go back and play some Strange Brigade after playing Zombie Army 4, because you kind of forget, well I kind of forgot how good Strange Brigade was, and and it still is, apart from a few foibles that kind of spoiled the long-term gameplay experience for me, which basically with Strange Brigade is the levels were too long. I think that was, yeah, levels are too long, and the way that the health system worked was a little bit annoying as well, which is kind of carried over into a Zombie Army 4. Well, the health bit has anyway. So, so when Strange Brigade came out, must be a couple of years ago now, a lot of us were hoping it was going to be the spiritual successor to Zombie Army Trilogy, or the Nazi Zombie Army games, because we loved them so much. However, Strange Brigade wasn't. Although it had a similar vibe with zombies and things like that, there was very little sniping in it. I guess that was probably a deliberate decision on Rebellion's behalf. You could pick up a special gun and you could snipe for a little bit, but there wasn't even like a Carl Fairburn DLC, which I thought they would have done, where they would have introduced him and you could have done some sniping. They kept this this universe pretty much separate from the Sniper Elite universe, with the idea, I think, of just having a more arcadey shooter, third-person kind of shooter, which they did very, very well. And Strange Brigade looks great, looks amazing. This is just on an OG PlayStation 4. It sounds really good. It's got the normal problem that old Rebellion games have with the tinniness of their rifle sounds and their machine gun sounds. They're just a little bit on the tinny side. But as I say, the only real problem I ever saw with Strange Brigade was that the levels were too long and it would just get too repetitive, especially when you were trying to kill the bosses. Maybe because I think maybe they do a lot of their testing on PCs with keyboard and mouse, and you had to be really accurate to kill some of the bosses sometimes, and it was very difficult. So that now brings us to Zombie Army 4, the true successor to Zombie Army Trilogy and Nazi Zombie Army. And now you can kind of breathe a deep sigh of relief, because Zombie Army 4 it's Zombie Army. It's really good. We've got the sniping, we've got the shambling zombies, we've got the great atmosphere, we've got the John Carpenter-esque music, and as far as I'm concerned, it's everything that we could want from a Zombie Army game. It's got a couple of problems that I see. The main one being, I think, the way that the health works. You don't have auto health regeneration. However, the deeper you get into the game, you can see me using the submachine gun here, you can get attachments for your weapons which give you back health as you shoot enemies, which is there's a similar mechanic in Strange Brigade as well, with some of the special you get these special crystals, amulets that you can mount on your weapons that do a similar sort of thing. But it can be frustrating when you first start playing Zombie Army 4, because you get into situations where you don't have any health and you can't find any med packs, and that's what happens in Strange Brigade as well. So let's put a bit of structure to the video. So graphics, I mean, they're both using the same engine that Rebellion use. I think Strange Brigade probably looks a little bit better at times because it's in the nice sunshine. There's lots of bright colours, but Zombie Army, it has that Zombie Army feel, that horror movie feel, with all the greens in it. And they both look really good. They both sound great as well. They haven't introduced too much of the campness for Strange Brigade to Zombie Army, which is good. There is a little bit of it, which is fair enough. And the story, well, in Zombie Army 4 now we've got a continuation where Hitler's seemingly coming back from the dead, because he was dead in Zombie Army Trilogy, and now he's coming back again. And in Strange Brigade we're investigating the rise of this Egyptian death god. So it's nice lightweight stuff. With Strange Brigade definitely erring more on the Saturday morning matinee type feel to it. Gameplay, again, very, very similar. It's really go from A to B to Z on like these sort of almost corridor shooter bits. Then you have a horde mode bit. Maybe you've got to find some things, solve a few puzzles in Strange Brigade. I haven't come across any puzzle solving in Zombie Army 4 yet. And then you have another corridor shooter, then another. Then you have another horde mode bit, you know, survive the horde. Haven't really come across any big bosses yet in Zombie Army 4, but I'd imagine there's probably going to be a bit of a big boss near the end. There normally is. But the difference really is with the gunplay, because with Zombie Army we got snipers back, and I think they probably learned, by they I mean Rebellion, probably learned quite a bit from Strange Brigade in how to make the close-up gunplay a lot more fun in Zombie Army 4, which they do, because the sniping is cool in Zombie Army 4, as you'd expect it to be. They've toned down the kill cam a little bit, which I think they need to change. They need to turn it up again so it appears more often. But what is much better now in Zombie Army is when you use your pistol, and when you use your submachine gun, or when you use shotgun, or when you use the heavy weapons. The close-up gunfights are really good fun, and they've made it the recoil less. You've got these special time slowing down mechanics that mean that you can go from headshot to headshot. And I find the gunplay in Zombie Army 4 better than in Strange Brigade, because Strange Brigade gets a bit repetitive. You know, even when you pick up the special weapons, you know, you tend to be doing the same thing all the time. Whereas in Zombie Army, you have that nice balance between taking on shambling zombies at range, and then gradually they're getting too close. Then you've got to whip out your shotgun or your submachine gun and take a load down at once. Difficulty, I think the main problem with the difficulty in Strange Brigade used to be how long the levels were, and it was more a case of whether you were going to quit out and say, oh, I've had enough of this kind of thing. Progression, they built on the progression system from Strange Brigade and brought it into Zombie Army 4, I think, in terms of the weapons getting more powerful as you go through, as you level up. But the progression in Zombie Army 4, sorry, is much more in depth than it is in Strange Brigade. You know, your character has progression, you have perks, and your guns have progressions too, and there are lots of different progressions. So I think Zombie Army 4 is better that way. And as far as replayability goes, but both games have got good horde modes, and the horde mode in Strange Brigade is particularly great, and you've also got things like time attack, which are really good. I think probably the campaign in Zombie Army 4 is a little bit more replayable, mainly because of that problem that I said with Strange Brigade, the fact that it's often the campaign levels are just way too long. You do all this stuff, it takes forever, and then you've got to take on a boss, and you're like, by the end of it, you're like, oh, thank God that's over. Thank God that's over with. I mean, both games kind of suit, you know, playing for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and then going off and doing something else, I think. But Strange Brigade definitely had that. You would often get bored by the time you got to the end. So the question is, though, if you enjoyed Strange Brigade, will you enjoy Zombie Army 4? And I would say absolutely. If you enjoyed the Zombie Army games, such as Zombie Army 4, will you like Strange Brigade? I would say definitely pick up Strange Brigade. Pick it up cheap. You know, don't pay full price for it, but when it goes down in the sale, pick it up, because it's a beautiful looking game. It's good fun in short chunks. It isn't Zombie Army, definitely not Zombie, and it isn't nowhere near Sniper Elite. But it's a fun romp. If you're into shooters though, and you're trying to decide, you know, which ones to go for, I think, you know, Zombie Army 4's definitely the choice, because you have that close-up gunplay with your submachine guns, your shotguns, and your pistols, and then you have the sniping as well, which Rebellion are so good at. So both good games. I think Zombie Army 4 will turn out to be a great game. And I think I'm not sure what Rebellion are going to do with Strange Brigade, actually. I hope it was successful enough. They'll do a sequel. I just hope that they just kind of make the levels a little bit smaller. You know, I wouldn't mind having a shorter Strange Brigade with a little bit more variation. So there we go. both from the same stable, both from Rebellion, but I would definitely have to give it to Zombie Army 4 as being, you know, a game I definitely prefer. But don't write off Strange Brigade, because I say it is a fun Saturday morning matinee romp. Anyway, that's enough from me. Put your questions and comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. I'll let the gameplay run now, and I will see you again soon.
Hello, that looks rather interesting. A locked gate, an abandoned camp. The plot thickens. Oh, well spotted. Yes, looks like you're on the right track here, Brigade. Huzzah! Success. Good show. Look at the size of these blighters. Let's hope some swift gunplay could cut them down to size.
Too slow.
Those armoured shell gunners are so cracking. I'm reloading.
Not on my watch.
That log looks jolly useful.
Classic Frank.